My brother is angry I forced him to pay what he borrowed by taking him to small claims. People always say money and family don't mix. I used to think that was something bitter people said after losing both. But now I know better. My brother Dean wasn't just my sibling, he was the person I defended through every argument, every bad decision, every heartbreak. I covered for him when he dropped out of community college, when he lost his job at the auto shop, even when he lied to mom about selling her old jewelry to help pay bills. And the worst part, I thought I was helping when he begged to borrow $5,000 from me. I didn't even hesitate when he said it was for 3 months' rent. He and his girlfriend Tasha were about to get kicked out of their apartment in Brookview Heights, one of those cookie-cutter suburban neighborhoods that looked prettier than they were peaceful. He called me late one Friday night, voice shaking, desperation dripping between his words. Please Leah, I wouldn't ask if I had any other choice, I swear. I'll pay you back in 2 months. I'm starting this detailing gig with Rick, it's legit this time. 2 months. That was in January. By June I still hadn't seen a single dollar. Every reminder I gave was brushed off with excuses. The business isn't steady yet, or Tasha's car broke down, or you know how rent eats everything. At first I told myself to be patient, I even convinced myself that maybe he just forgot. But as the weeks passed I noticed his Instagram stories kept updating. Dinners out, drinks with friends, new sneakers. The breaking point came when I saw him post a picture with Tasha on a mini getaway in Lake Geneva, holding cocktails, smiling like he'd never had a financial worry in his life. That night I couldn't sleep. The number $5,000 kept flashing in my head like a neon sign. Not just the amount, but the trust it represented, the respect I thought existed between us. By morning, something in me snapped. I drove to his place. A basement-level apartment tucked between 2 identical beige duplexes. The siding was cracked, the lawn patchy. I didn't even bother to knock, I banged. Tasha opened the door wearing a robe, her hair up in a towel. She looked surprised, not the kind of surprised that said oh nice to see you, but the kind that said oh crap. Dean, she called behind her, your sister's here. He appeared seconds later, shirtless, holding a bowl of cereal, like I had just interrupted his weekend vacation instead of months of avoidance. What's up, Leah, he said casually. You owe me $5,000, that's what's up. He blinked, then gave that little chuckle he does when he's cornered. Relax, I told you I'd pay you back. You're acting like I stole it. You did steal it, Dean. I snapped. You said 2 months, it's been 6. Tasha shifted awkwardly by the couch. Dean sighed, set his bowl down and walked closer. Look, I'll get it to you, just not right now, okay? Things are tight. I stared at him. This man had new sneakers, limited edition Jordans. His watch looked new too. Tight, I repeated. Dean, I saw you post pictures from Lake Geneva. He smirked. You really stalking my Instagram over a few bucks? A few bucks, that was it, the sentence that did it. My hand shook. You're unbelievable. He shrugged, unfazed. If you're that pressed, maybe you shouldn't lend people money. That's when I decided, right then, in that tiny humid living room that smelled like cheap air freshener and fried onions, I decided to take him to small claims court. Not because of the money anymore, because I was done being disrespected. The clerk at the county courthouse looked at me like she'd seen it 100 times before. Siblings, money, broken promises. Fill out this form, she said, sliding the paper across the counter. Attach any proof, texts, receipts, bank transfers. You'll pay a $65 filing fee. I nodded, pulling out my phone. I had everything. Screenshots of him asking for the loan, proof of my transfer, even his messages promising repayment. It felt surreal, filling out those forms. When I got back to my car, I sat for a full minute staring at the steering wheel. My stomach was tight, my chest heavier than I expected. I didn't want it to come to this. But Dean had left me no choice. That night, I texted him. I filed in small claims today, you'll get the notice soon. He read it, then left it on scene. 2 days later he called. His tone was sharp, low, the kind of angry that trembled. Are you kidding me, Leah? You actually took me to court over family, over respect, I said calmly. You're insane. You think mom's gonna be cool with this? You think anyone will? I'm not doing this for approval, Dean. I'm doing this because you took advantage of me. He hung up. That was the last time we spoke before the battle began. Word spread fast in our family. My mom called first, frantic pleading, trying to play peacemaker. Sweetheart, this isn't necessary. He's your brother. Don't let money ruin that. I bit my lip. Mom, he ruined it when he lied to me, when he ignored me for months. He's struggling, Leah. No, he's comfortable because I'm the one struggling now. Then came the rest of the family, cousins, aunties, even Dad, who usually stayed out of drama. Everyone had an opinion. Most of them sided with Dean. I became the sister who sued her brother. It didn't matter that I had proof. It didn't matter that I gave him chance after chance. In their eyes I broke the unspoken rule: you don't take family to court. The morning of the hearing, I wore my simplest outfit: black slacks, white blouse, neat bun. I didn't want to look angry, I wanted to look composed. Dean walked in 10 minutes late with Tasha in tow. He looked annoyed, jaw tight, eyes darting anywhere but at me. When the judge entered, we stood. The courtroom was small, almost intimate, like it was designed to amplify discomfort. Dean tried to act casual at first, telling the judge that we were working it out, but the judge wasn't buying it. Did you borrow the money? The judge asked. Yeah, but did you repay it? Not yet, but did you promise to repay it within 2 months? Dean hesitated. Yeah, then I don't see what the confusion is, the judge said, flipping through the paperwork. Dean looked at me, eyes full of rage, not because he was wrong, but because he was caught. I felt my pulse steady for the first time in months. After 10 tense minutes, the judge ruled in my favor. Dean was ordered to repay the full $5,000 plus the court fee. The gavel hit the desk. Case closed. When we stepped outside, Dean followed me to the parking lot. You really did it, he said, voice low and bitter. I really did. You humiliated me. I turned to face him. No, Dean, you did that to yourself. All I did was hold you accountable. He scoffed, shaking his head. You think this is justice? All you did was burn this family down. I walked away, but his words followed me. 4 weeks. Mom wouldn't speak to me. Tasha blocked me. Dean sent the court-ordered payments through money order, each one late, each one bitterly short. But they came. And each time I cashed one, I felt something uncoil inside me, not satisfaction, not revenge, just relief. Because I learned that family shouldn't mean free passes. Sometimes it means boundaries. Even if it costs peace for a while. People whispered about what I did, cousins with opinions, friends who would have handled it differently, but I slept better. Because I know I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because love without accountability is just enablement. And sometimes, the only way to save what's left of a relationship is to stand up, even if it means standing alone. It was about a month after Dean had made his final payment when I heard the next round of family whispers. This time, it wasn't about me. It was about him. Dean had gone to cousin Michael, the one everyone called the level-headed one. The one who always wore a calm face and talked about keeping the family together. Michael worked in insurance, had 2 kids, and a wife who baked cookies for church events. He was the last person you'd expect to cry over anything, but apparently, Dean had a way of turning even calm seas into storms. I found out about it when Michael called me one Saturday evening. His voice was shaky. I could hear his wife, Nina, in the background trying to calm their youngest child. Leah, he said, I just need to ask, how did you do it? How did you handle him when he asked for money? My stomach tightened. Why, what happened? He sighed. He came by earlier today, said he needed to borrow $2,000 to get his car fixed, promised to pay it back after a new business deal, whatever that means. I thought maybe he learned his lesson after court, but he hasn't, I said quietly. Michael hesitated. I told him no. I told him I wasn't comfortable after what happened between you two. I thought I was being firm but fair. He blew up, Leah, like screaming, slamming his hands on the counter. The kids got scared. I closed my eyes, imagining it too easily. That familiar mix of charm and anger Dean used when he didn't get what he wanted. He told me I was judging him, Michael continued, his voice cracking a little. Said I was turning the whole family against him. And then he stormed out. I tried to stay calm, but he stopped. I could hear him sniffle softly. I didn't want to yell in front of my kids, he said, but I did. I told him to never come back if he couldn't talk to me like a man. Nina's upset. I tried to do the right thing. My throat tightened. Michael never cried. He was the peacemaker, the bridge between every cousin feud, every family tension. If Dean had reduced him to tears, that said everything. After I hung up, I sat on my couch for a long time, staring at the wall. Dean wasn't just borrowing money. He was borrowing empathy over and over until he drained everyone dry. I thought the court ruling would wake him up. I thought being held accountable once would break the cycle, but it hadn't. He just redirected his charm somewhere else. Mom called the next day. Her voice edged with exhaustion. Leah, have you talked to your brother lately? Not since the last time at the courthouse. He's mad at Michael now, says everyone's ganging up on him. He came by the house last night, yelling in the driveway. I rubbed my temples. And you still think he's just struggling? He's lost, she said softly. But it hurts, you know. Seeing him like this, I thought maybe after court he'd grow up. Instead, he's angrier than ever. Because no one's enabling him anymore. Silence. Then a weary sigh. You're right, Mom admitted. But it doesn't make it any easier to watch. A week later, Michael organized a small family meeting at his place. He wanted to try to talk things through, set boundaries, maybe get Dean to face what he was doing. Against my better judgment, I went. When I arrived, Dean was already there, slouched in a chair, arms crossed, eyes dark with resentment. He didn't even glance at me. Michael sat across from him, composed but visibly nervous. Mom was beside him, hands folded like she was praying. Dean, Michael started gently, we're not here to attack you. We need to talk about what's been happening. Dean scoffed. You mean about how my family's treating me like I'm some kind of con artist? No one said that, Michael said calmly. We just want you to take some responsibility. You borrowed from a lot of us. Leah went through the legal route. Oh, here we go again, Dean interrupted, voice rising. Leah the saint, Leah the responsible one. You all love using her as your example. Because she did the hard thing, Michael said, his patience thinning. She stood her ground. That's what we're all trying to do. Dean's jaw clenched. You think you're better than me because you have a mortgage and a minivan? Because your wife bakes cookies? Michael flinched. His wife, Nina, who had been quietly standing in the kitchen doorway, stepped back. This isn't about being better, Michael said, his voice tight. It's about being accountable. Because the thing about accountability is, it doesn't just teach one person a lesson. It shifts an entire family's balance. Dean had spent years borrowing money. Now, he was forced to borrow silence to sit with himself, without anyone rescuing him. And that, maybe, was the real justice. It took 2 full years before Dean reached out again. He called on a rainy Thursday evening, voice softer than I'd ever heard it. "Hey, Leah, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for all of it. I got a job at the garage again. Been sober for 6 months. I'm trying." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "That's good, Dean. I mean it. I know I don't deserve a second chance. But I want to earn one." There was something different in his tone, not manipulation this time, but humility. For once, he wasn't asking for money. He was asking for grace. And I gave it to him. Not because he was my brother, but because he finally understood what family really meant. Have you ever confronted a debtor? If you were me, what would you have done? Subscribe to New Reddit Stories for more amazing Reddit stories.